okay, don't get all pissed off. This one does come from Huffington Post. It's a news it's a news article. It is opinionated, of course, but the thing is, it does report news. So what they want to talk about is if you've been living under a fucking rock, you might not have noticed that there was a Fort Lauderdale mass shooting this week in an airport. And a GOP lawmaker, he's Greg Steube, has introduced a bill allowing open carry in airports.
Such a good idea.
Doesn't the FAA says no guns like on the airplanes? Like it has to be checked in your luggage. Isn't that what it has to be?
Uh-huh. This guy should just stick at driving the Love Boat.
So you can open carry up until you reach the ticket counter. So this is fucking bullshit anyway. So you can open carry up until the point where you get your flight, your boarding passes. Then what? And then like you have to go to the TSA line, you have to go to the Cinnabon, you have to go to the
Yeah, what's their thinking here? What's the plan?
Oh yeah,
your Uber driver will take it back to your house for you.
Yeah, so
you can mail it to yourself. You know, like with your Swiss Army knife.
He's taking up legislation that will allow civilians to open carry guns in airports and college campuses and other public places. Greg Steube said on Friday's mass shooting at Fort Lauderdale's Hollywood International Airport. No, don't use fucking Hollywood when you're in Florida. No. There's only one Hollywood.
But there is a Hollywood, Florida.
I know, but
it's a shithole.
Yeah.
And the other one stole it from them because it was Hollywood land originally, wasn't it?
It's like Kissimmee, Florida, or like Fort Myers. Fuck, Florida is full of trash towns. I fucking hate Florida.
Florida's such a shitty little state. I'm sorry for anybody who happens to be trapped in Florida.
Yeah, sorry about that. One of my favorite comedians comes from Florida, but the thing is like, even Bugs Bunny back in the day was making jokes about cutting Florida off the fucking United States. So you guys are used to it. And you guys have your own fucking hashtag on Twitter with Florida Man. So you guys know entirely what we're talking about, if anybody's listening from there. So
should have taken a left at Cucamonga.
It says it would allow Floridians with a concealed weapon permit to have guns with them in non-secure areas of schools, courthouses, and airports. This would include airport baggage claim areas where a lone gunman killed and wounded multiple people during Friday's attack. And this is a quote from the dumbass. Law-abiding people who have gone through the background checks, gone through the training, that's the problem. A lot of people are not. No, he's talking about you don't have to have training for open carry.
No, you don't.
It shouldn't be told that they can't carry and that they can't defend themselves.
They wouldn't have to defend themselves if everybody wasn't open carrying.
Oh, if we weren't a gun culture, we wouldn't have to worry about any of this shit.
Well,
someone could come after you with a knife. Yeah, that knife could also be used to like peel an apple.
Yeah, they could.
You know how I feel about guns on this show, so.
Well, yeah, it's just a gun is a shitty way to defend yourself. It really is. It's not an effective form of self-defense.
And so their argument, of course, is that terrorists and other attackers often seek targets where they're unlikely to encounter armed people, said Steube.
That's not true.
And law enforcement officers can't be everywhere. That's that whole thing of like, what if someone's kicking down your door and you like what are you going to do? Call the cops or get your gun? I'm like, I'm going to call the cops, and then I'm going to get like my bowling ball or something. I'd much rather, kick a guy than shoot a guy. But that's just me. But then again, how many forced entries do you hear about? I mean, they're very, very, very fucking rare. Because the prison sentence for a theft versus a robbery are very different. Burglary versus robbery are two very different things. So,
well, yeah, I mean, that's the point of breaking into somebody's house is to steal stuff.
Exactly.
You don't do that if somebody's home.
And it's usually all these people that are saying, well, if someone broke into my house, I wouldn't hesitate shooting them in the face. But yeah, what happens when you actually do that? Irreversible damage to you and those around you. It doesn't matter. You can't prepare for that kind of stuff. I mean, look at people that go into the military, come home with PTSD. It's a similar emotional response that you get for taking, the life or even most of a life from someone using that tool.
And just do a couple quick searches for instances for cases where an intruder has been shot, but it was not actually an intruder.
It was a member of the family.
It was a member of the family, or somebody, drunk trying to get into the wrong house because they couldn't tell the houses apart because they all look the same.
Oh, so that kind of goes into what he says here. Stubby says, I dismiss the possibility that a licensed gun holder would accidentally shoot an innocent bystander. That's always the opponent's hypothetical criticism of the case. If there's a solution where that has occurred, I would love to know. Wow, we can literally give you...
That's happened.
Hey, how about that crazy-ass lady that shot at somebody that was just shoplifting from like a Lowe's?
Yes, it was Lowe's or Home Depot, something like that.
Yeah.
Man. So law enforcement officials have said in the past that bystanders' firearms can make an active shooting situations more confusing, making it harder to pick out who the suspect is.
Right.
Licensed gun owners also have the trouble of determining who to shoot.
Right.
If you have like 6 concealed carry guys all pulling their weapon after they hear the first gunshot, there's a video out there by Mr. Oizo, which is he's a EDM artist, but he did a video called Ham, where it was directed by Eric Wareheim, where it talks mainly about the gun culture in the United States, where somebody tries to buy something at a store, but they're all fighting over it. And next thing you know, one person pulls a gun, and then all the people pull a gun, and yet everybody ends up dead at the very end.
Everybody's dead.
It's dumb. Everybody's dumb about this shit. So
yeah.
Let's see. The gun safety advocates railed against the legislation. Michael Gajda, Gajda, Haida, I don't know. Whatever. Michelle is a volunteer leader at the Florida chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. That's MDAGSA. No, work on your acronym, people.
I was going to say, you can't. That doesn't roll off the tongue.
No. Said in a statement Friday that the Fort Lauderdale shooting should serve as a reminder that guns have no place in an airport. Floridians have the right to be in an airport, a nightclub, or a college campus without the fear of possibly being gunned down. Let us stand together in the honor of today's victims and demand that our lawmakers make public safety a top priority once and for all. Not going to happen, because look who runs the country now. The Fox is running the hen house and making the decisions. So
right, but in the case of Florida, even those precautions wouldn't have they wouldn't have helped.
No,
the guy was he was a National Guard, wasn't he?
I think so. He was prior military.
Something there.
Yeah. I don't even think he was prior military. He had current military credentials.
Oh, okay.
But I don't have the specific details in front of me. But
it's never stopped us before.
Never stopped us before. But yeah, he was probably active or recently active in the military. He legally checked his firearm, picked it up at the baggage claim, and then took it to the bathroom. Yeah, he went to the bathroom where because it was in his carry-on unloaded. He went into the bathroom and loaded it, and then walked out and started shooting.
Just snapped.
Oh yeah. The guy had completely snapped, and there are, I think, stories I saw somewhere that he was being watched by the FBI, or he had talked to the FBI because he said
apparently people knew this was going to happen, or they had a good inkling that he wasn't quite
that something was going to happen.
Yeah, he wasn't all there.
It's like that neighbor of yours, or your cousin or uncle or whoever it is that eventually, when you're interviewed for the news story, you say, "Oh yeah, totally, I knew this was coming."
Yeah,
yeah, not a surprise.
No,
that makes me think of a fun game we could play in the future. Like, what would your family say about you if you were to die? Without clearing your browser history and all that shit.